Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies. Oh, wait, movies? What? There's movies missing from my collection. What happened? Oh, I guess I'll talk about that today. I have a problem, guys, and I'm sure that you probably saw that in the thumbnail. You can probably see what I'm going to be talking about today, but I'm really excited because I kind of went overboard. And I am just super excited to talk about these films today because I finally really deep dived into something that I don't think I'm going to regret whatsoever. So a lot of you already know, if you are new here, I have recently been really interested in Indicator, Powerhouse Films from the UK. And I've really wanted to dive kind of deep into their catalog and their box sets because they're just gorgeous. But you know, I decided because they are from somewhere else, they're from the UK, I have to import them. So it costs a little bit of money and it costs them a little bit for shipping, right? And so I decided to, I'm like, you know what, heck with it. I had volume 4 of the Hammer Death and Deceit box set, the Hammer box set from them, and I'm like, let's just get the other ones. Let's just get some more. So today I'm going to showcase with you some of the things that I've picked up. But I will say I'm going to talk a little bit about a lot of the Indicator titles today, and I just want to preview with the fact that I'm currently watching these right now. In fact, the first films that I'll be talking about are not box sets. However, they are in a box set that's out of print and notoriously out of print, and I really wish I could have had. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about Sinbad. So without further ado, let's actually just talk about the Indicator titles that I picked up. And I'm going to start off with the ones that I have seen and then the ones I'm currently watching, because some of you already know I've been watching a little bit of Harryhausen, and I finally was able to watch some of the films. So let's just start off with those. So the first 3 films that I actually watched, and I just finished the third one today, is the Sinbad films, the Ray Harryhausen Sinbad films. Now, these are the 3 films right here. The first one is the 7th Voyage of Sinbad. The second one right here is the Golden Voyage of Sinbad. And then the third one is the Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Now, I will say, all of these are made by different directors, and they all have different Sinbads in it. But they all share the common through of Ray Harryhausen, who was the wonderful stop-motion animator that has really captured my heart. And honestly, it's bringing back memories of when I was younger, and I would watch something like Carol Zeman's work and the Journey to the Beginning of Time, and a lot of these things, and Journey to the Center of the Earth too, but just not Zeman. But you know what I mean. I've been really interested in stop motion work, and I've been very interested in that process of filmmaking. Now, this common through line with Ray Harryhausen with these particular films are really cool. In fact, the thing I really love about all 3 of these films, not particularly the story, because it's a little bit lackluster. It's more fantastical, and but at the end of the day, the Ray Harryhausen effects are the really big sell. Now, I will just talk real quickly about the 7th Voyage of Sinbad, directed by Nathan Jurin, and also starring Kerwin Matthews, who is actually my favorite Sinbad so far. I've watched the other ones, so he is my favorite Sinbad of the bunch. And I don't know, just that opening sequence of them arriving on this island and having to fight a Cyclops with stop motion animation was just such an enamoring scene. I really loved it. You know, Sinbad's men were throwing spears at the Cyclops. You know, you could see the Cyclops, is actually terrifying these people, even though obviously it wasn't there because it was filmed in Dinorama, which is Dynamation. I cannot talk. As you can see in the back of this with those big bold words, Dynamation and Dinorama and all that fun stuff. It's just so cool to see these effects at work, especially showcased at the very beginning of this particular film with Cyclops. And it's just something, it's unforgettable on the beach scene. And that Cyclops throwing the spears right back at the men as they're getting attacked and speared. And then later on in the movie, when maybe all the men are in the Cyclops' treasure hoard trying to steal all the gold and stuff, and then the Cyclops just lifts the dome off of the home and then takes one of them out and kills them, or at least tries to roast him alive. And anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a really fantastic Sinbad film, and I really enjoyed this one. Now, these other 2, they're good as well. Now, I will start with the Golden Voyage of Sinbad right here. This one is directed by Gordon Hessler, and it actually has John Philip Law as Sinbad. In fact, he's got the charismatic natures like Kerwin Matthews has, I really like his voice, but he looks completely different. He's got like this wig, like this really crazy beard and a turban on, and he's enchanting, but in a different way that Kerwin Matthews is. And honestly, I kind of see Kerwin Matthews as that Sinbad. Now, in Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, you have Patrick Wayne as Sinbad, and this is directed by Sam Wanamaker. And this one's a few years after this one. In fact, I didn't actually mention the years, but this first Sinbad is from 1958. The second one is from 1973, and this one's from 1977. So these ones are a little bit closer in the years apart. But like I was saying with Sinbad, with the Sam Wanamaker one, Eye of the Tiger, he has the looks, but he doesn't have like the acting chops. He sounds really funny. He sounds kind of very, very youthful, and I don't exactly know the timeline with all these. I don't even know if they're really connected besides the fact that Ray Harryhausen did all this. So I'm super excited that I was able to dive into these Sinbad films. This is indicator 24, 25, and 26. Those are the spine numbers. I've been watching a lot of the special features. They've been really, really fun and fantastic. And this is pretty much where my knowledge level of all the stuff that I'm going to be talking about kind of just drops, because I haven't seen the rest of the stuff that I'm going to be mentioning. And but I'm just super excited about it because, like I said, with these three films, I have really loved the special features involved, because there are audio commentaries with Ray Harryhausen and the people who worked on these films. There's special features with actors and actresses who have been a part of these movies, and they kind of look back at the retrospective of their careers, but also their involvement with these films. It's just so jam-packed with so many things. It's just such a wonderful thing to experience, and it's really kind of nice to step away from something like Criterion, because a lot of us here have a wide array of films that we really like to watch. And a lot of the films that I really like, for the most part, at least recently and a lot more lately, I've been watching a lot more films that are maybe more art house or world cinema oriented, and I really like that elements, but I also want to shut my brain off occasionally because, as the joke goes, I'm very busy recently, and so I would like to just sit down with some stop motion animation work to a exciting yet also not super heavy story that is involving these really fantastical creatures and some decent acting, and honestly overall feels like a really cool B movie. And I really, really enjoy these films. And if you haven't, these are all available from the UK. Like I said, unfortunately I don't have the box set, the original one that's out of print. Everyone who has it, send me your copy. I would like it. Thank you very much. Speaking of Ray Harryhausen, let me actually do a transition from these films to the box set that actually you already know that I have, that I'm really excited to dive into next, because that's where I'm going next. Next in my journey of Ray Harryhausen, I actually want to explore this Volume 1 set right here of Ray Harryhausen. This is the box set that I was talking about with the wonderful features. This is number 2,501 out of 6,000. It came from Beneath the Sea, 20 Million Miles to Earth, and The Three Worlds of Gulliver. And you've already seen this. If you've seen this video where I've already done an unboxing of this, I'm just excited to dive further into more Harryhausen works. Right here, there is the booklet that it comes with the stop motion animation, and then you have the three films itself. And these are spine number 41, 42, and 43. I would really love to dive into the second Ray Harryhausen box set with Jason and the Argonauts and Mysterious Island, which I actually have somewhere around here. I don't know where it's at. But I also have that, which you probably already know from one of my more recent Blu-ray hauls. But I'm just super excited to dive into this box set, and I'm super excited to dive into more Harryhausen and be in this mood and mindset that Carol Zeman really put me through when I initially watched those. So I'm excited to dive into this next. But now you're wondering, so why did I start this video with this giant chunk here? Well, I went a little overboard. Let's just dive into the films and the box sets that I picked up. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is this bad boy right here, Sam Fuller at Columbia. Now, I have a few Sam Fuller films from the Criterion collection. In fact, I still haven't seen any of his works, but Sam Fuller's birthday was the other day, and Indicator had a sale, and so I'm like, that's kind of where it started, right? I'm like, I want to get more Indicator titles, because I'm starting to really like these Hammer films. These Sinbad films are stuff that I'm really interested in, so I'm like, well, might as well just get more box sets, right? And so I was able to pick this up at a discounted price from Indicator, and it has so many films in it. It's from 1937 to 1961. It Happens in Hollywood, Adventure in Sahara, Power of the Press, Shockproof, Scandal Sheet, The Crimson Kimono, and Underworld USA. So it has quite a bit of films right here, and this lovely, lovely edition. And I haven't even opened this up, so I don't really know what I'm going to be looking at. So these are just really fantastic. I'm sure there's reversible covers actually with each one of these. This is Underworld USA. This I think is on its own. Then you have the Crimson Kimono. You have Shockproof and Scandal Sheet right in there. And then you have It Happened to Hollywood, Adventure in Sahara, and Power of the Press, all right in here. Now, and actually, yeah, I was kind of right about this, but there are reversible covers, right? There's the 1937 to 1943 Sam Fuller at Columbia. And so I'm just excited to dive into more of Sam Fuller's work, and I know he was more of a correspondent during these years, and so I know a little bit about that, but you know, I think this is the place to start with his work, and then I'll jump into his later work that he has in the Criterion with like Shock Corridor, right? Something like that that I'm going to dive into eventually. So, you know, I got this because it was on sale, on top of the fact that, you know, there isn't too many times where I'm like, I want to buy something from the UK and I want it sent over here. And so that's where these next films come into play, and why I actually ordered quite a bit more than just the Sam Fuller box set. So let's move on from this box set to the next one. And yeah, these next ones are going to be really fun too. All right, so speaking of more Columbia ventures, right, with first we talked about Sam Fuller. Let's actually talk about these two box sets right here. The William Castle at Columbia, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And so these have some really funny titles into it. Let's just look at Volume 1 real quick. Let's look at this one right here, which has a really sweet ghastly figure on the front right here. It's just super wonderful looking. This film, the films that are involved in this set in particular are The Tingler, 13 Ghosts, Homicidal, and Sardonicus. The Sardonicus. I cannot talk. But yeah, that is such a beautiful cover. Let's just look really quickly at all of these films. The Sardonicus. And then we have Homicidal, which I heard is a little bit more along the lines of Psycho. 13 Ghosts. And then you have The Tingler. And yeah, like I said, I'm excited to watch more and more of William Castle's work as well. I know my friend Daniel at Cobwebs has seen some of William Castle's films, and so he informs me that I would really, really enjoy it. So that's as far as I can really go with understanding William Castle's work. And here's the second one right here. This one right here is really, really fun. Looking right here with all these terrified women on the front. I don't know why I said fun. That is not the right way to say that. But the films involved in this set are Zotz, 13 Frightened Girls, which is, I would assume, what this cover is, The Old Dark House, and Straitjacket. And so, yeah, this is part 2 of the William Castle Volume 1 and 2 at Columbia. So I'm excited to have both this set and this set in the collection, because once you get to a certain point of when you're ordering, you will eventually get free shipping, right? And so that's where my next set of volumes come from. All right, so last and surely not least, you know that I have already had this one for a long, long time. Hammer Volume 5 right here, Death and Deceit, with Visa de Canton, the Pirates of Blood River, the Scarlet Blade, and the Brigand of Kandahar, which I actually have already talked about, and I really, really enjoyed this set, and in fact, it got me really interested in Indicator even more. So I got this. This was my initial exposure to Hammer outside of the Christopher Lee Dracula films, and also my first exposure to Indicator as a company. And I was just really excited about this particular set. And then I'm like, I have to get the rest. So luckily, I got my hands on Volume 2, 3, and 4 as well. So we got Volumes 4 right here, Faces of Fear. We got Volume 3, Blood and Terror. And Volume 2, Criminal Intent. Now, as you know, and if you are a fan of Indicator, you know that Volume 1 is out of print, and so I would like you to also send that to me if you can. But I really like Hammer films, and I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far with their output. And even if some of it is dated, so like something, for instance, like in the Volume 3 set right here. You can tell right here with Terror of the Tongs, right, there is definitely some whitewashing and some definitely things that are not okay in today's climate whatsoever. However, I think in the cinematic landscape of things, it really informs us the time period, especially that the British Empire had to deal with. So there's that post-colonial kind of sense to it. And so a lot of these films, outside of the horror genre, they're making homages to like the Universal films, but also to those classic novels by Mary Shelley and also by Bram Stoker. So there's all these different things. And then there's like noirs in here, action thrillers. There's all different types of films involved with Hammer, and they did a lot of different things. Like, you know, we already talked about the pirate films. And so I'm just super excited to dive into more of these, and I think these sets are just absolutely gorgeous. So I think now it's our time to put these back to where they belong, right? You saw me struggle there. And I'll deal with the Sinbad films in a second. But look at that. I'm just so happy to finally have some of these sets. Hope you enjoyed that a little bit. I'm super excited to dive further into Indicator. I think this is a really great company. I want to say thank you to Powerhouse Films. I want to say thank you to Elliot Cohen, the person who really kind of pushed me in the direction of Indicator and a lot of these other boutique labels that I really wasn't aware of, because honestly I understand and I know more about Criterion because it's an American company, and then we also have Kino Lorber, and I have a little bit of Arrow as well, and so I'm just dipping my toes into all these different labels and companies because all of them have something different to offer, and I think that's really, really cool, and that's the current niche that I'm trying to get, and I really just enjoy it. So I hope you also share my interest in Indicator and you enjoy this video. Give me your thoughts down below. I want to hear, do you have any of your Indicator sets? Do you have any of the out of print ones? And do you want to send them to me? But I just want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. I had a really good time making it, and I hope everyone's doing okay. I hope everyone's enjoying the community out there, because it's just such a wonderful community. I cannot thank you guys enough for everything that you're doing. So make sure to give it a like, comment down below, share this video, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.